has acknowledged, and now he said in one of his comments, Jen, that while it's got the fall chill outside, it's quite wintry inside his home.
I can imagine it would be.
How's he handling it, in your opinion?
From a brand standpoint,
yes,
he mastered the art of the apology. He did it in a way that was very direct, very head-on, as you had suggested. He did it in a way that was very humble, yet humorous, as David Letterman would do, in a way that made people feel like he was transparent and authentic, versus many politicians or clergymen have tried to hide it and deny it, and then later, when they can't deny it any longer, they come out. He did it in a way that said, I am wrong, my actions were not right. So people do feel sorry for him, and they forgive him more.
Now, do you think that because he issued this apology after it was, or as it was about to become public, that he actually is ahead of the curve? Is that the way that you suggest people handle crises?
Absolutely. Because once something is in the media and it is not being sought out from the person that's being targeted in a way that they are saying, yes, I did do it or I didn't. If they're not saying anything, people assume that that's the truth. And once people assume that, it's hard for them to change gears and say, oh, no, he's just defending himself now. He did it in a way that was so proactive that people believe that that is the truth, and the rumors are getting squashed before they get started, and that his ratings are up. That's what branding is. Branding is buzz, and his ratings are up, and right when Leno was getting all of the buzz, he came in and stole the buzz. So whether it's good buzz or bad buzz, it's still buzz, and his ratings are up right now.
You know, I don't know whether to be shocked at that or just say that's the world in which we live these days, I'll tell you. Now, when I posted this question on Facebook about David Letterman, it was amazing the response that it generated. Everything from total outrage to one man calling the question incredibly stupid, given what else is happening in the world. Well, what do you think? It's your call. Let's check in with some of my Facebook friends and see what they have to say. Kathy says, who didn't know that David Letterman was sleeping with women from his show? He had a long-term affair with one, then a long-term affair and a son with another before marrying her. What does it matter? Apparently, the women didn't feel like it was sexual harassment. Now, Ed says, many a broadcast human resource department has bounced excellent, hard-working employees for much less, and many times based just on innuendo and rumor. Letterman is an employee and subject to the same morality clauses, especially when the evidence is much more than someone merely seeking damage to another person's career. He should have already been fired. There is no gray area here. I'm going to talk to Edith about that in just a second. But first, Len says, I like David, but sometimes he almost seems robotic. He slept with a couple of coworkers while he was single. Really? This is barely a relevant news story. It just proves that Letterman is human, and this will not hurt him at all. As Jen pointed out, this will probably boost his ratings. If you want to tell me what you think, here's how you can do it. We have a couple of questions that you can answer. We want to know where you stand on this David Letterman situation. We want to know if you think it matters if the boss dates someone at work. And we also want to know if you've ever been the boss or dated the boss. And can workplace romances ever have happy endings? Tell me what you think about all of that. A couple of different ways that you can do it. You can email your thoughts and opinions to me here at the show. Log on to csnphilly.com. Put in the It's Your Call or IYC search title. That'll take you to my webpage where you can leave me a comment, or you can email me directly here at the show. That's TCN_IYC at ComcastNetwork.com. As I mentioned, also you can find us on Facebook, MySpace, and always on YouTube. Okay, the question that the one Facebook friend pointed out was that no one was hurt in this situation, and that it just basically proves that David is human. That did he in fact violate a basic premise of HR guidelines?
Well, he has his own production company.
CBS
he has his own production company. He works for his production company. Now, whether he broke the guidelines of that particular company, that's their policy manual, and that's whatever it is. But the issue is not so much did those women comply with his wishes unwillingly. That doesn't seem to be the case here. The question is the overall atmosphere in the company, and whether what is happening here is a culture that in order to get ahead, in order to be more successful, that you need to have a sexual relationship. Maybe not with David Letterman. Maybe there's another boss. Maybe this is what it's looking like. This is the way it's done here.
Well, that's the question I was going to ask. Okay, everybody, all eyes are on David because, he's David Letterman. But what if there was an executive producer who was sleeping with someone on his staff? Would we be looking at this perhaps differently?
Well, I think that there's, women are often victimized in this role, but there are also women such as the one in this case, who are making these choices, and it's a pattern. And I don't know if it's necessarily them just trying to get ahead. I think now you're spending 60% of your time at work, and there's relationships that are being formed, and people forget about this often, that people become attracted to each other and relate to each other because they're living the same lives, and obviously they're going to be attracted to somebody in that role of power. So sometimes they're consenting adults that are making this decision, and not women that are being victimized, but women that are making these adult choices on their own.
And that was your point.
Well, it is, and again, Stephanie Burkett isn't going out with her contemporaries there at CBS. She's going out with the boss men who are decades older than her. Those are the types she's going for. So this isn't like just a classic, we're working side by side, 14-hour days, and I've got the hots for this guy, let's go have a drink, hey, let's go hook up. She is pursuing the bosses at that place, and he's not violating company policy, by the way, and even though it's his own production company, they're under the umbrella of CBS's sexual harassment policy. So he's not violating CBS's harassment policy.
Okay, on that note, I have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to have more on workplace romances, including some advice for you if you are contemplating it, if you are in the middle of it, or if it has gone badly for you. We have some experts here who are going to help us handle all of that and more. Stay with us. It's Your Call continues right after this.
Lynn Doyle's jewelry provided by David Craig Diamonds and Fine Jewelry, Newtown, Pennsylvania.
Transportation for It's Your Call guests provided by Preferred Car and Limousine.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Lynn Doyle. This is It's Your Call, and our topic this hour is workplace romance. Have you ever been involved with a coworker, perhaps a subordinate, or even the boss? Can it work out? And if you're involved, what do you need to know about the pitfalls and the problems, the potential difficulties, both at home and in the office? We're talking about this because of the David Letterman scandal. As you know, he recently admitted that he had not one, not two, but several affairs with people with whom he worked. And now the debate is that a big deal, or is it just part of being an adult in a workplace? If you have questions or comments, you can email them to us here at the show. The address is on the bottom of this screen. We were talking about before, as adults, you most likely will meet someone in the workplace to whom you are attracted because you have the same interests, you're there a lot of the time. So if you are going to pursue it, what kind of advice might we give?
Just beware. I mean, people meet people in the workplace. That's great. If it works out, fabulous. The problem is when it doesn't, and that's where people have to be very, very careful in, because when it goes bad, you have to see that person every day. If that person is your superior, or if you're their superior, everything is then put under a microscope. Everything that you do, everything that they do. People naturally, when they break up, they magnify things, they think about things, and now you're putting all that in the workplace. So the question is, are you going to be treated fairly and equally when this breakup happens?
All right. Are there different rules for if you are dating a coworker as opposed to someone for whom you work or they work for you?
Absolutely. In fact, I think when you're dating a coworker, it's a little less dangerous. It's uncomfortable, though. You all have similar friends. The breakup inevitably comes, although I shouldn't say inevitably. Most of the time, people are taking sides. There's two different camps. You're dreading going to work. I mean, no one should have to live like that. It's uncomfortable, but when it's the boss, depending on who breaks up with who, if you dump your boss, then you're just waiting for, what assignment's waiting for me when I get to work today? There's like serious retaliation that could result, but then at the same time, you can really get them into trouble.
If that happens, though, if there is serious retaliation anywhere, then that's